honest talk from a congressman and cops about how they stay safe in Colorado. It's being called Arvada's unicorn, a rare sighting today as the mayor unloads over another RTD train delay. A viewer spots what may or may not be an alien invasion in Weld County. Greeley is honored for good taste. And a girl with serious questions about mermaids gets a very serious answer from scientists. Next. Any American who didn't know surely learned today that most members of Congress do not travel with security. Capitol Police were present today. They were able to take down the shooter today only because there was a high-ranking congressional leader there who had a security detail. It raises the question of how the contentious town hall meetings with members of Congress in Colorado are handled.
If you're not concerned about your own safety, you have to be concerned about the safety of others, the people around you.
Republican Congressman Mike Kaufman is having the safest kind of town hall meeting tonight, a telephone town hall from D.C. In August, he'll have his next in-person town hall, and he will do it without a security detail, because he doesn't have one.
We're encouraged to work with local law enforcement, share our schedules with them.
We checked with Aurora Police, which doesn't require high-profile politicians to notify them if they're drawing a crowd, but they appreciate the heads up.
We're at large events like that and events with delegates because we're concerned about everybody's safety. So it's not just to keep one person safe, it's to keep everybody at the event safe.
Democratic Senator Michael Bennet recently held 3 town halls, including one in Boulder. Boulder PD told us they get notified if congressional staffers think that the event could get heated. But they told us, we do not act as security simply because someone doesn't have their own security.
When there's an event that becomes public, where I'm inviting the public, am I creating a soft target? Is, law enforcement addressing the issue? Am I being too casual about it? It's not thinking about my safety, it's thinking about the safety of those around me.
One of the first journalists to arrive at the shooting scene in Virginia was a person who brought Colorado its images of the Columbine shooting. Former Rocky Mountain News photographer Ezra Suarez lives right across the street from that ballpark in Alexandria, Virginia. This morning he was packed up to leave the country and teach photojournalism in Ecuador when he heard gunshots. We spoke with him by phone from the airport before he left.
And the reason why Columbine is so infamous is because, sadly enough, it was the first of its kind, but it's actually become the norm. There have been so many shootings ever since Columbine. At first I thought it was construction going on because there was a rhythm to the shooting. So the shooter actually went boom, boom, boom. And my wife's like, are those shots? I'm like, I don't think so. It's too rhythmic. And then the rhythm changed. And then I think I heard other caliber guns, and I'm like, okay, that's actual shooting.
Ezra sold his photos today to a wire service, which is fine. Journalists should be able to make a living from their work. He did post one on his Facebook page if you'd like to see. There's a link on the next page of 9news.com.
Hey everyone, there's a train running on the tracks of the G line. They are testing the train again after the feds ordered them to stop with all the problems we've seen on the A line. That would be reason to celebrate for the people in Arvada and Wheat Ridge who were originally told that the G line would open in October. A reason to celebrate if it weren't for a pesky piece of information RTD told Next last night, that there's a chance it might be another 6 months before they allow passengers on it.
Time is synonymous with trains. Ask any commuter what happens if their train is late, and they'll tell you it can throw off an entire workday. Ask any leader in a town waiting for a train, they'll tell you it has a pretty big impact too.
How many times do we hear things and take them at face value?
Arvada Mayor Mark Williams says RTD told him with testing underway again, it won't be long until those construction fences fall.
The minimum amount of time would be 45 days, could go 90 days. And then I hear from you all last night on Channel 9 that it could be 2018. I'm not a happy camper.
Not a happy camper, because city leaders, along with the rest of us, were initially told that the G line would depart last October.
We expended a heck of a lot of money to build this transit hub here, to have the parking and to be ready when they said we needed to be ready.
They were ready. The train wasn't. The city paid extra to expedite that $30 million transit hub. They don't have a final total of how much. We'll only say the extra cost was significant. They're also getting constantly pestered by businesses.
Just had a waiter see the train go by and call it Arvada's unicorn. because there's this sense of, is this really going to happen or not?
Now there's a question whether that sticker will stick.
This is a $1 billion project. They will come up with a fix.
The mayor likes to be optimistic.
Oh my gosh, seeing the train come through today gave me a sense of hope.
After all, it's just a matter of time.
And I also chatted with a couple of city councilmen in Wheat Ridge who told me leaders there didn't know about a potential 2018 pushback. They asked voters to approve a sales tax for infrastructure improvements around the G line last year, and they got that approved. And Kyle, there are a lot of businesses waiting for this. Arvada has several apartment complexes that were built along that area, and they're advertising that they're close to the G line. They just hope the G line will work.
Sure. And again, we've tried to be clear with people all along. We're not setting dates on a calendar. We're looking at ranges. And that range started in 2016, went to 2017, and now it's beginning to peak over into 18.
This is the first time we heard it, and so we wanted to get it out
first time
there.
we heard that year. All right, Steve, thank you. This week's scaffolding accident in Denver that you didn't really care about. It's keeping you from tasty beer. Oh, I see I have your attention now. The scaffolding collapsed Monday at a construction site near 44th and Tennyson. In it, wood planks rained down through the roof next door, where the team behind the Grateful Gnome Brewery has been hustling to get open for months now. This is yet another setback for them. Perhaps it was the bad neighbor sign out front, but something tells me that developer next door won't be drinking for free when the Grateful Gnome finally opens.
Yeah, he hasn't come by once. He probably knows better. He's probably the last person I want to see right now.
People behind the brewery, including that gentleman there with the phenomenal facial hair, say that the developer has been silent and dismissive. You know, we got a feel for that when we tried to get a hold of Mike Matheson today. He kept hanging up on us. Perhaps he just didn't want to miss a call from the federal safety investigators who are looking into the scaffolding collapse. Our next question comes from a viewer named Sally. Hey, Kyle. Hey, Sally. Our friends live in Weld County near 85 and Highway 60. This helicopter was flying around their property with this contraption hanging from it. Any idea what it is and what they were doing? All right, Sally, that equipment is mapping underground aquifers. The Central Colorado Water Conservancy District is studying groundwater in the Gilchrist area. They want to know if some old water wells are the cause of modern flooding issues there. So the chopper flies along at 55 miles per hour, guided by GPS and laser positioning. It's dragging that thing 100 feet below it, and the equipment allows them a view 900 feet below ground level. Colorado has 2 of America's 12 astronaut candidates in training this year. We're looking into their background to see if they really wanted to be astronauts as kids or whether they wasted away their formative years wanting to be a veterinarian or a news anchor or something. Matt Dominick's physics teacher at Devlin High attested this week to his early promise in the classroom. And today, Jessica Watkins offered us proof that she is indeed living a lifelong dream.
Welcome to the NASA audio conferencing system.
Hello, is this Jessica?
Hello, yes.
Hey, Jessica, this is Carrie calling from 9 News.
This has always been the dream. Since I can really remember, since I was about the age of 9, was really my first memory, my first recollection of wanting to be an astronaut. The word is humbled and honored are the words that come to mind. Quite an honor to be part of a team and such an impressive team. Looking around at the other applicants, it's a pretty amazing group to be a part of. I definitely had heard that a lot of times people have applied more than once, up to several times. So that was definitely the expectation I had going in. I thought, any steps that I was able to make it in this process would be a huge accomplishment and just experience in the journey. And I certainly wouldn't be here without the opportunities I've been given and the continual support of my family and friends and colleagues.
Jessica isn't much for the bragging, so please allow me to do it. She has an enormous brain. Bachelor's degree in geological and environmental sciences at Stanford. Doctorate in geology from UCLA. She's worked at NASA's Ames Research Center and NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Oh, and she happens to be a talented athlete as well. A member of Stanford's women's rugby and the USA Rugby Women's Sevens national team. Consider us impressed. Matt and Jessica pass our test. We'll see if they pass NASA's when they report in August for training. Greeley gets a national honor for what Bobby Boucher would call some high-quality H2O. See if you know what some other next viewers didn't. How to pronounce the name of the home of Colorado National Speedway. And a young girl's very earnest question about mermaids earns her an epic letter from CU scientists. Next.
Wednesday in mid-June. How about this day? It is a beautiful day in our severe weather month without thunderstorms. However, a few sprinkles, little thunder and lightning down around Castle Rock this hour after a day with highs near 90 degrees. Very dry for this time of year, but you notice there's just enough moisture out there with heating of the day. You get a couple of weak little storms traveling through with an upper air disturbance. Nothing like what they're dealing with around Midland, Texas and St. Louis. Hail, wind, rain, all compromising travel there. Beautiful water vapor imagery showing, well, the lack of moisture across our area, but that pretty low pressure area north of Minneapolis. It's out of here. High pressure back in charge. Storm track to the north of us, and that means a mild weather pattern that will last through the end of this week and right into Father's Day weekend. That's great news for those that have travel plans, outdoor activities, and good travel overnight tonight and tomorrow for many of the main corridors, I-25 and I-70. And the wind does not appear to be a main player either. Always a good night when you can say that. Lows tonight in the lower 50s. High temperatures tomorrow above average again. Going into the 90s we are for Friday and for the first part of the weekend. Father's Day just a smidge cooler with an isolated storm, a weak little weather system coming through, but it's all about the clouds. The sunrise and sunset pictures, Kyle, lately have been amazing.
Kathy, thanks. Not sure Greeley's going to put this on the welcome signs around town, but they have the best tasting water in America. You heard it here. Greeley won Best of the Best Tap Water Taste Test at the American Waterworks Association's annual conference. I miss it this year. I normally go. They also won the People's Choice Award, in which 1,000 people at this water conference in Philly try a bunch of different cities' tap water and decide which one tastes the best. No other city in the 13 years of the competition has won both awards. And the whole competition thing's kind of wild. So Greeley had to get tap water and then ship it by FedEx in this specialized cooler within a time window. And why is their water any good? The city says the source is up in Bellevue in the mountains. An inquisitive 8.5-year-old girl took her questions about mermaids straight to the experts, scientists at the University of Colorado. Catherine came home from school one day in Arvada and told her dad that a friend claimed that mermaids were real. She still had her doubts. She loves mermaids, totally wanted them to be real, but she's skeptical. So she wrote to the Department of Oceanic and Atmospheric Sciences at CU. Catherine dictated, Dad typed. Her dad said that he thought CU would just get a good laugh out of it. He was in awe when a scientist took the time to write a kind and thoughtful response. Catherine, your question about mermaids is an excellent one, and I'm glad you decided to ask our department for an answer. No evidence of real mermaids has ever been found, nor is there any evidence that mermaids have ever existed. Even though there's no evidence, I hope you'll continue to imagine what could be. Keep asking questions and trying to understand whether something is true. By being creative and curious and looking for scientific explanations, you'll discover how truly amazing our world is. A shout out to Cora Randall at CU, who took the time to write back that wonderful letter, made Catherine's day, and I bet you she might have made yours by hearing that. Thank you for being kind to a curious and smart little girl. We will straighten out Colorado's place name pronunciations if we have to do it one city at a time. And today we head north of Denver. And a new bike shop on a mission to get everyone rolling.
Without David, none of this would be happening.
Next. Time to play another round of What Do You Say and settle how to pronounce the name of a place in our beautiful state. This time it's a city. Starts with a D, about 20 minutes north of Thornton on I-25. It is home to Colorado National Speedway. Sits just south of Frederick on the map. And our own Belen de Leon asked for clarification, so we got in touch with the city manager to ask, what do you say?
the combination of three ladies' names, Daisy, Cora, and Nora. So technically it's Dacono, but a lot of people say an A at the end. So you can tell how long a person has lived in Dacono by how they pronounce that. If they say it with an A on the end, they've been around for a while. We just say Dacono with an O on the end of it.
Isn't that cool? Daisy, Cora, and Nora. Who knew? But now they say Dacono. Send us someplace else in search of how the locals pronounce the name of a city, street, mountain, lake, or any spot in Colorado. We might just find a neat story like that along the way. You can email your ideas to next@9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext. And if you want a tour of all the places that we've been for What Do You Say, our producer Aaron put them together in a story on the next section at 9news.com. There's a new community bike shop open in Arvada with a different kind of business model. Bob Matter got the idea from his son David, who was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder 24 years ago. Today we stopped by the shop to meet David and his dad.
David was actually an emergency breech birth. He was never healthy more than 2 weeks at a time for 6 months. And then at 2, he was diagnosed with being on the autism spectrum. When the diagnosis first came, the world was everything he couldn't do. And for a while, that was tough. David, being 26, needed a place to be able to learn job skills, to be able to get him to achieve what his potential is. Well, there's the seat came off. It's a community bike shop that welcomes people regardless of their income level, their cognitive functioning, or their nationality. Without David, none of this would be happening. But the point of the shop is to work not just with David, but to work with others who are in the same situation and bring them not only together to learn job skills, but also to create a sense of community where they can be part of a community as opposed to being an invisible member of society. Now, there is nobody in the United States doing this in this particular fashion. So it's kind of that thing of, you know, be the change you want to see in this world. Thanks, sir.
A new spin is open and looking for volunteers. You can find details in this story on the next section of 9news.com. We return with a sign of the times. Hammer time. And your feedback next. It's a sign, and at first glance, it appears to be a typical stop sign at 3rd and Pearl in Denver until you realize that you are being ordered to stop. Hammer time. When it comes to defacing signs, the law says you can't touch this. But it still makes us smile. Send your signs to next@9news.com or hashtag HeyNext. Stan enjoyed the story about Colorado's maybe astronaut Jessica Watkins. Says, keep the positive going, baby. You know, Stan, if everybody in the news knew how much fun positive was, they'd all do it. Garrett Hatch says, the way you said high-quality H2O made me laugh off the couch. Might be a millennial. Love watching the show. And Steve J notes, wearing pants today, I see. It felt like a pants day, Steve. We'll see what happens next time.